So Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier 3 has been announced, and today we are going to build the best 5-fight main card for Dustin Poirier's retirement fight, because this card needs to be stacked. We need Dustin Poirier getting some mega pay-per-view points for his last send-off in the UFC. So as we all know, the main event, Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier 3 for the BMF belt. Why is the BMF belt still a thing? The BMF belt doesn't make any sense whatsoever. How is Max the BMF champion after losing to Ilya? But anyway, let's just move past that. Let's move on. Let's be positive here. We've built a really stacked card here that I think the UFC will want to take ideas from, which is fine. But just give me my credit. When you make the exact card that I've put together here, just give me my credit. That's all I'm at. Give me a front row seat to the event. All I'm asking for. So yeah, this event will take place in Louisiana, Dustin Poirier's hometown. It is a retirement fight. 318 does take place July 19th, if I remember correctly. Let's not waste any more time. Main card opener, it's MVP versus Carlos Prates. Tell me this isn't an amazing main card opener. Like, this fight card is just going to be filled with ranked matchups that are just fun and entertaining. That's what this card's going to be. You know, I'm just letting you know, we're starting off hot here. MVP Carlos Prates. Carlos Prates is coming off the loss to Ian Gary. MVP is coming off the win to Shara Bullet in the middleweight division. MVP did make it clear though that he is wanting to fight in the welterweight division. This fight was rumoured. I don't know if it was rumoured or just everybody online was wanting to see it. I still want to see it, and now it makes sense. MVP isn't inside the top 10. Carlos Prates isn't inside the top 10. His first top 10 opponent he lost to in Ian Gary. Him and MVP have that similarity. And this is just a fun matchup. There's no one that's going to hate MVP versus Carlos Prates. Nobody. Like, nobody is going to hate MVP versus Carlos Prates. It is a great main card opener. Two big names as well. I think it's perfect. What a perfect way to kick off this main card. MVP, Carlos Prates. I'd actually really be interested in this because it's a hard one to pick, because a part of me is like, I just see Prates catching MVP, but then I'm like, he couldn't time Ian Gary at all. Like, he really got nothing off on Ian Gary until round 5. I don't see Carlos Prates wrestling with MVP, and I think on the feet, if Carlos Prates couldn't time Ian Gary, especially because this is only 3 rounds, he's definitely not going to be able to time MVP. Now, maybe after that performance against Ian Gary, Prates might come out with a bit more urgency. We might see that. But a part of me just feels like he couldn't time Ian Gary. He's not going to be able to time MVP over 3 rounds. I actually think MVP would beat Carlos Prates. Call me crazy in the comments, I don't care. MVP style, his in and out movement, Prates was a heavy bag for Ian Gary. He couldn't time Ian Gary. He couldn't get anything off. Imagine what MVP is going to do to him with MVP's so elusive style. Carlos Prates, after this matchup, will be on a 2-fight losing streak. Yes, the end of the fighting nerds. But yeah, MVP, Carlos Prates, perfect main card opener. 2 big names that is a fight that everybody wants to see. That there is opening up this main card. Moving on to the next matchup. We've got this one right here. Now, people might say, why is this not the main card opener? I'll tell you why. Because there is a chance this fight could be absolute poop. This fight could be ass. This fight might not deliver. So that's why it's going to be sandwiched in between fights that are going to deliver. Now, this is the perfect fight to be on this card. These guys have history. These guys fought each other for free in a casino. Brendan Allen is from New Orleans, if I remember correctly. He might even be from Louisiana. I'm not too sure, but these guys have beef, and they will also help sell this fight because there will be a big rivalry. There will be a lot of trash talk between these guys, and I think that will definitely help sell this card. Obviously, this card doesn't really need much help because Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier single-handedly sells the card anyway because of how big both guys are. But this would definitely be like a matchup that everybody would... This would be like the Gene Silva, Bryce Mitchell matchup on UFC 314 for UFC 318. These guys obviously can't stand each other. Like I said, they fought each other in the casino. There's bad blood there. They're going to go back and forth on the mic. Brendan Allen, I was going to say he's good on the mic, but we've never really seen him on the mic in that big position. We know Marvin Vettori, the guy's jokes, he's hilarious. I think him and Brendan Allen would go back and forth, and they definitely would be the Gene Silva, Bryce Mitchell of UFC 318. Plus, Brendan Allen's in his hometown. Just make the fight happen. But yeah, like I said, it could be a stinker. It really could be. Because I could see maybe a lot of holding up against the cage, or maybe Brendan Allen just stalling on positions in terms of the grappling with Marvin Vettori. Both guys aren't big punchers either, so it's not like, whoa, like the Carlos Prates MVP matchup where both guys are big punchers and can shut the lights off at any minute. These guys don't possess that. Brendan Allen is more dangerous. He's more of a finishing threat than Marvin Vettori because of his grappling. But then you have to remember that Brendan Allen suffers from submission over position, and then he gives up a lot of dominant positions and then ends up just throwing the round away. That is something in Brendan Allen's game. Although Brendan Allen has really good boxing, Marvin Vettori's got a really good chin, also doesn't have that bad of striking. So with their bad blood, it could be a really fun one, although it could end up being like a Muhammad Mokaev Manel Cap. It could go down that route as well. That's why I'm saying sandwich this fight in between, because we'll get all the good moments out of this in the media, in the press conference. And if the fight delivers, great. If it doesn't, at least we've had the promotional help between both guys going back and forth on stage with each other. That's why that's going to be there. I actually think Brendan Allen would beat Marvin Vettori. No disrespect to Marvin Vettori. I don't understand how this guy has got to where he has. I do think he is overrated. Not that anybody rates him, but just his fighting ability. I don't think he's top 10 worthy in the middleweight division. Personally, I just don't think that. Brendan Allen definitely is, though, in my opinion. I think Brendan Allen is underrated. I would take him to win this matchup. It's a fun one. Make it happen. Moving on to the feature fight. Now, for those who watch the channel, you'll know what I think of this guy here. So we've got Gene Silva. We've got ISO Speed, aka Gene Silva. Why did he have to beat Bryce Mitchell? Like, anyway, Gene Silva coming off a win over Bryce Mitchell. I think it's AI generated, to be honest. I don't recall him beating Bryce Mitchell. You will never convince me otherwise. I've just developed that now. But yeah, everyone's saying he needs to be in a number one contender fight. He needs to fight for the belt. He needs to do this, he needs to do that. What he needs to do is fight Josh Emmett. Josh Emmett is ranked inside the top 10 still, I believe. Gene Silva, he is coming off a win over his first ever ranked opponent. I won't say the name because I don't want to get the flashbacks. But his opponent who he beat in the rankings wasn't even inside the top 10. So let's slow down with Gene Silva. I think Gene Silva actually is a good fighter. That pains me to say it. Like, really hurts me to say that Gene Silva's good. But I want to see him versus Josh Emmett. This is a fun one. I mean, and there's so many things that go into this. Like, both guys are big punchers. Josh Emmett is a big puncher, but I think a lot of people overrate how big of a puncher he is. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't want to get punched by the guy. But if you know what I'm saying, like, a lot of people seem to think he actually has more KOs than what he actually does. Still a big puncher, though. And Gene Silva, obviously, has finished... I think he's, what's he on now, like a 6-fight win streak, maybe 5, 6, something like that, and he's finished all his opponents in there. So this would be a really fun one and a good way to get Gene Silva into the rankings and get him into the rankings against someone who can deliver fun fights as well. Also, you've got the root of how well will Gene Silva do against Josh Emmett. Ilya Topuria couldn't finish him. Can Gene Silva finish him? You know, you've got that there that can play into this matchup. Obviously, Josh Emmett is coming off a loss, but like I said, Gene Silva isn't in the position right now, in my opinion, to be getting a Brian Ortega or something like that. The guy needs to do more. He's not even ranked inside the top 10. So, I think this is the perfect matchup. I think Gene Silva would beat Josh Emmett. I really do think that. I actually do think Gene Silva's good. I know I've already said it, but it's paining me to say it. I do think he's good. Although, I hate the fact he barks. I hate what he done to Bryce Mitchell. Do you know what? I actually fucking hate what both guys done to Bryce Mitchell. I would love a double knockout here. That's what I would love. But yeah, Gene Silva, Josh Emmett, it's the matchup to make. Feature fight, really fun one. You have two of the fight nerds on the card. Prates does have to be the opener. He doesn't get to jump Gene Silva. Gene Silva, he's on the win streak. Bigger star in my opinion, as of right now. And moving on to the co-main event. Why is this fight not being rebooked? Why are we not talking about this fight? Why is it Gaethje Islam that now we know isn't going to happen? Thankfully. Why is it Gaethje Arman? Why is it not Gaethje Dan Hooker? This is the co-main event for this card. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying. Justin Gaethje Dan Hooker is the perfect co-main event to Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier. get this fight on that card, book it for 5 rounds again. This is the perfect time to have this fight. Rebook it, and then you've got... I actually think we're going to see Ilya Oliveira at International Fight Week. I think Islam is going to move up. And then I think you do Arman Sarukian versus Paddy Pimblett. Those guys actually have beef. So that there would be a fun fight to see. And rebook this one. This is a fight that everybody wanted to see. It's going to be a war. Imagine this, seeing the car crash that this fight's going to be, and then knowing that you're going into Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier 3. It would be absolutely insane and the perfect co-main event to this fight. I really do think so. I think Justin Gaethje's 1 win off fighting for the belt again. Dan Hooker is a 2 wins off. I think a win over Justin Gaethje would really help him. But imagine Hooker beats Gaethje, Holloway beats Poirier, and then you get Dan Hooker, Max Holloway, title eliminator fight. Or, some people won't like this. I don't really like the idea of it, but if it happened, it happened. Gaethje beats Hooker, Holloway beats Poirier, Justin Gaethje, Max Holloway too. Title elimination fight. Now, I don't want to speak in the existing Dustin Poirier is going to win. I know I'm a Dustin Poirier fan, but that fucks everything up, so we kind of need him to lose. But yeah, that there is the perfect 5-fight main card for UFC 318, Dustin Poirier, Max Holloway 3. Let me know what do you think of this card in the comments below. Thanks again for the support. Like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And I'll see you again in the next one.